Oh no, I'm going to do a quick video on how to do a change of harmonic balancer and front crank seal. That's the one behind the harmonic balancer. Basically default when your harmonic balancer is on its way out is when that harmonic balance area that wobbles. You hear some strange noises when you start up, and when your aircon kicks in you'll actually see that wobble. You'll actually see it wobbling away. It'll make a bit of noise, and there'll be potential of oil leak underneath your car right there. That's a sign that the harmonic balancer seal's shot, based on the fact that there's engine oil at the front of the engine. So basically first step, obviously prepare the car, disconnect the battery, put some wheel chocks under the back wheels and jack the car up. This particular car is a VZ Avalanche, but it'll make no difference whether any sort of VZ with the LS1. Basically anything with LS1 is going to be the same. So yeah, jack her up, jack stands underneath, just to make it easier to access, and also you need to get into the transmission. So do that, jack it up, make sure it's secure before you get underneath. So once you get underneath, you need to find the little transmission. Maybe pretty hard to see underneath anyway. There's a little transmission hatch. You'll see them under here. There it is, the little plate there. There's a little plate there and that there. Then you use a special little crowbar to lock that transmission point. Okay. Now there are special crowbars for that, and I will draw you a picture of one what looks like at the end. Unfortunately my mate took it back home again, but that's okay, I'll draw a picture of what it looks like. Righto, so one person underneath the special crowbar, one person with a 24mm socket and an extension handle. Make sure it's a good one. You need a lot of force on that job. I had this plus another handle behind it, so I ended up being about 3 foot extension. So 24mm socket, make sure it's a decent quality one. Person underneath locking the transmission, make sure the battery's disconnected, of course, and you just heave off it. It took me a hell of a lot of force, but it just went crunch, and away you go. Once you get half a turn, it's basically finger tight and the bolt will come out. So once that bolt's, don't take the bolt all the way out, take it out probably 4 or 5 turns, just finger tight. So then you get your puller set, excuse me, I cannot find my puller set at the moment. Anyway, for argument's sake, that's the one I got. It's the repco one, gear puller, 3-jaw, worked like a treat. Set it to the 100mm part. For the life of me, I don't know where my puller went, but anyway, it's here somewhere. So anyway, it doesn't matter. That's the one you need. So using your bolt, using your harmonic balancer bolt, set up your 3-jaw puller in there and pull it out. Now I forgot to mention you need to take the fans out too. So to take the fans out, it's pretty easy. With an automatic, you just disconnect the oil line there, the transmission oil line, just pull that out. A little bit of transmission oil will pop out, but it won't dribble everywhere. Undo the hoses there, undo the connection there. So with the fans, you've got to pull them left to right. So you basically unhook them. There's 2 little hooks there and another hook just there. You'll see that there. See that hook right there, one in the middle of the screen. That's it. So unhook those, lift it up about 1 inch or so, and then from this side you pull this side up first, and then the other side comes up after it. Can help with 2 people, but generally this is a 2-person job, the harmonic balancer change. It has to be. So take the fan cowling and all that off, and away you go. Sorry, you do that before you start undoing the bolt, by the way, my bad. Right, so get the gear puller and pull it out until it sort of runs out of thread on your gear puller, reset it and go again and again. Now, I found that I needed to actually get a longer bolt. The standard bolt actually wasn't long enough. So if you do have someone with a longer harmonic balancer bolt, it will make your life a lot easier. The one I had was about that long. My mate brought it over, so it was about another 2 inches longer, and that made a hell of a lot of difference in getting that balancer off. So get one with the extra length. I think they're called a harmonic balancer remover tool or something. And there's also, you can use it to put the harmonic balancer back in as well. So if you can get the long bolt, they work a treat. Really, actually, I think you actually need one. I don't know how you do it without it. So anyway, continuing, pull that out, take the harmonic balancer off, and you'll end up with that in your hand. That's the old one. Now that's got the old seal on it. Now my seal was so stuffed, that seal came off with the balancer. That's how bad it was. So that's why I had some pretty bad leaks. So to get the seal off, you use a little seal removal tool. Once you get near the edge, and you take that off very carefully, but you can't scratch the outside, you can't scratch the inside, so be very careful how you get them off. Now the new replacement seals are very easy to reinstall. This is the one I had. That's the one I had. I just got that from Repco. So that had this Teflon outer, and it was just a push in only. There was no need to do anything else other than push it in. So once the seal was back in, then we just placed the harmonics balancer on the end, and that's when we got the special bolt again. So we just made the harmonics balancer sit in there a little bit, and that's when we just got it going. And that, like I said, it had the long bolt, and we used that to actually put the harmonics balancer in place, and then eventually it run out of place, and when we went to the new ARP bolt. So you're supposed to change these bolts every time you change the harmonic balancer. Mine lasted 150,000 kilometers, so it worked a treat, and I think for the sake of a $30 bolt, $30 bolt, good to go. So get the new ARP bolt or one from Repco or whatever. I found Repco didn't have a spare harmonics balancer bolt, so that may be super cheap or someone. So anyway, once the big bolt's finished, you go and put your standard bolt in, and you tighten them all the way. Now they go to 240 foot-pound, so you need to make sure you get yourself a very good torque wrench, or borrow a mate's preferably, because they're expensive. What I did it in 3 stages. Of course, remember I used the ARP bolt, so a bit better quality bolt, and they are reusable, the ARP ones. So I set it to 150 pound, tightened it, and then I set it to 200, tightened it, and then set it to 240 and went all the way, and tightened it 240. So that's what I did, and job done. With the seal, like I said, the crank seal, the front crankshaft seal is just a push in one, Teflon seal, so that just pushes in very easy. I forgot to mention again, you need to take the belts off, of course. You need you need a 15mm socket. You just place the socket there and you lift that belt up. Same with the one underneath. See the one down the bottom there? The one on the air conditioner, right. Zoom in. See the one on the air conditioner down the bottom? You got to do the same with that. So you got to take the 2 belts off, obviously. I took the intake off as well, but I'd left the radiator in because the puller worked a treat. I didn't need to take the radiator out. So that off, fan cowling, belts off before you start. Okay. So of course, when you're tightening the harmonic balancer, when you're tightening it up, you obviously need a person underneath to lock the transmission through that little hole I showed you before. And then essentially that's it. So yeah, just reverse it, finish tightening it with the proper torque, put everything back together, put the cover back on the lock underneath on the transmission, and put everything back together and give her a test run, and away she goes. So, and reconnect the battery. Okay, now I'll quickly show you a quick photo of a quick little drawing. So excuse me for a second, I don't want to stop the video, it saves me editing it. So basically the tool, it just goes like that. Oh, that's no good. Sorry. Here it is, there's a pencil. So it's a prybar, it's about 2 foot long. So it's a standard 2 foot long bar, and it's got this little hook like that, and it's got this little hook like just like that, just right on the end of it, and that's the part you put in the transmission. So the bar just comes in like that, and it's got this tiny little hook, and that locks in that transmission part that's on the transmission lock. So get yourself one of those, or if you can get it, borrow it off a mate. So parts you need to borrow, if you don't have them, you need a torque wrench that'll go to 240 foot-pound, harmonic balancer extended bolt, or a harmonics balancer installation tool they call them as well. They're about $30 from memory, online. And yeah, and obviously 2 people. It's not a one-man job. So this is the installing of a harmonic balancer on an engine. I've checked on multiple YouTube videos, and there's not many actually doing it with the engine in place, and the radiator and all that in place. So hope that helps you. Any questions, just give me a yell in the comments area. Thank you. Cheers.